All right, ready to dive in. Today, we're tackling something pretty out there, even for us.
Oh, this should be fun.
We're talking parallel selves.
Parallel selves, okay.
But not just like the general idea.
Right, right.
This source material goes a step further.
Okay.
It suggests that our parallel selves, get this, are actually trying to reach us.
Oh, wow. From where?
From the fifth dimension. Yeah, I know, it sounds a little wild, right?
Yeah, a little bit, but keep going.
But the source lays out all these signs we can look for, and get this, even ways we can align with these supposedly more evolved versions of ourselves.
That's interesting. What are your initial thoughts, before we, really get into it?
I gotta admit, part of me is like, come on, really?
Right.
But then another part of me remembers all those weird, unexplainable things that have happened.
Yeah, we've all had those.
And I think, well, maybe there's something to this.
Huh.
What about you? Before we get into the nitty-gritty, what's your take?
The fifth dimension thing, that's definitely a bit out there.
Yeah.
But, the concept of parallel selves, that's not new. It pops up in all sorts of spiritual traditions, philosophies, even some branches of physics.
Right, right.
So maybe there's something to it, even
Yeah.
if, mainstream science hasn't fully caught up.
Right, exactly. Okay, so the source material, it jumps right in, starts talking about these signs that our parallel selves might be trying to, like, get our attention.
Hmm.
And one of the first things they mention, and this one, I don't know, this resonates with me.
Okay.
Have you ever felt like time is just, like, messing with you?
Time messing with me. You mean like,
Like, 1 minute you're stuck in this meeting that feels like it's going on forever.
oh, yeah.
And then the next thing you know, you're out with friends and, like, hours have just vanished.
Yeah. Yeah. I've definitely felt that. Like, where did the time go?
Exactly. Like, our perception of time, it's not always, linear.
You're right. And that's actually pretty well established, at least from a physics perspective. Time, it's not as constant as we tend to think it is. Like when we're really engaged, present, time just seems to flow.
Yeah.
But when we're, bored or anxious, every second feels like an eternity.
It's true. It's true.
So yeah, our internal state, it really does color how we experience time.
Okay. So that makes sense. But the source, they go a bit further with this.
Okay.
They're saying that this warping of time, it could be a sign of our parallel selves reaching out. And it gets even, I don't know, weirder or more interesting, depending on how you look at it.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
They talk about, like, those really intense déjà vu experiences.
Déjà vu, yeah.
But not just the, oh, I've been here before kind.
Right, right.
But those times when you actually know what's going to happen next.
Oh, like you've lived through it before.
Exactly. Like you're weirdly reliving a scene from a half-forgotten dream.
Those are strange, aren't they?
Yeah.
Like a little unsettling. From a neuroscience perspective, it's often explained as just a glitch in the brain's memory processing.
Yeah.
But I like the way you put it, like glimpses into alternate timelines.
Right.
Maybe our parallel selves are out there living out different versions of our lives.
See, now you're getting me excited. This is where things get really interesting.
Okay, what else?
So get this. Next, the source delves into dreams.
Dreams, okay.
They're saying that when our parallel selves are trying to reach us, our dreams become super vivid. And often, like, they carry these really significant messages.
Messages, okay.
The kind that stick with you long after you wake up.
Yeah, those ones that you can't shake.
Exactly.
It's funny you mentioned dreams because I had this dream recently. It felt so real. Like I was actually in another dimension.
Whoa, really?
Yeah, and the feeling stayed with me all day.
So maybe that was your parallel self trying to, like, make contact.
Maybe. Who knows? Science says dreams are just our brains processing stuff.
Yeah.
But what if it's more than that? What if, like the source says, these dreams are actual windows into other realities?
Ooh, I like that.
Or messages from, other versions of ourselves trying to guide us.
Okay, so this is getting pretty deep.
Yeah, we're going down the rabbit hole a bit here.
But stay with me, okay. Because this next sign, this one really resonated with me.
Okay.
Have you ever felt this sense of being out of sync with the world?
Out of sync? You mean like...
Like, everything's fine on the surface,
Yeah.
but deep down, you just feel like you belong somewhere else.
Oh, like you're living a life that's not really truly yours.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, I think a lot of people feel that, especially these days.
Yeah.
It's like this yearning for something more.
Right.
Like we're capable of so much more, but we haven't quite tapped into it.
Yeah, exactly. And the source is suggesting that maybe, just maybe, that feeling is actually our parallel self.
Okay.
The one who's already living at this higher level, trying to pull us towards that potential.
It's like they're saying, hey, come on, catch up.
Yes, like sending us a cosmic beacon, urging us to step into our true selves. But then the question becomes, how do we actually, decipher those signals, amidst all the noise of everyday life?
Right.
And this is where the source gets really interesting.
Okay.
They start talking about these subtle signs.
Mm-hmm.
Things like repeating numbers.
Repeating numbers, yeah.
Seemingly coincidental encounters.
Like running into the same person over and over.
Yeah, or even those moments of synchronicity where it feels like the universe is just nudging you in a certain direction.
Yeah, like when everything just seems to fall into place.
Exactly. But how do we know which of these signs are actually meaningful, worth pursuing, not just random chance?
I think that's where, discernment comes in.
Okay.
And intuition.
Right.
You got to learn to tell the difference between just, random stuff happening and those things that have a deeper resonance.
Yeah, the ones that really hit home.
Right, exactly. And you mentioned synchronicity, and I think that's a perfect example.
Okay.
It's often described as meaningful coincidence.
Okay.
Not just, random events.
Right.
But things that line up perfectly with, your thoughts, your intentions, what's going on in your life.
Yeah.
It's almost like the universe is sending you a message.
Or maybe in this case, our parallel selves.
Yeah, exactly. Like subtle nudges.
Yeah.
Guiding us towards a path that's, more aligned.
So it's not just noticing the signs, but actually acting on them.
Right. You got to have the courage to follow those nudges.
Yeah. That's where I get stuck sometimes, overthinking, second-guessing myself. How do we cultivate that inner knowing, that gut feeling that tells us which signs are the real deal?
I think it starts with, really connecting with yourself,
Mm-hmm.
quieting the mind, so you can actually hear that inner voice.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Things like meditation, mindfulness, they can help with that.
Right.
It's about learning to trust those gut feelings.
Yeah. Okay, so we're noticing the signs, feeling that pull towards something more, maybe even getting messages in our dreams. But now comes the big question.
The big one, yeah.
How do we actually merge with our parallel self?
That's a good question. Is that even possible?
And what does that even look like?
I mean, merging, literally becoming one, that might be a bit far-fetched.
Yeah, okay.
But maybe it's more about closing the gap.
The gap?
Between where we are now and that reality where our parallel self is already living the life we want.
Yeah.
It's about aligning, our thoughts, our beliefs, our actions.
With that version of ourselves.
Yeah, the one who's already stepped into their full potential.
Okay, so not literally merging, but aligning with their energy, their way of being.
Exactly.
And the source actually talks about this concept of acting as if.
Acting as if.
We're already there, merged with our parallel self.
Interesting. How do we actually do that?
That's what we're going to dive into next.
Okay, I'm ready.
Stay tuned.
Okay, so how do we act as if?
Right. How do we actually embody this idea of already being merged with our parallel self?
Well, the source, it talks about a few different things.
Yeah, okay.
Visualization is a big one.
Visualization, okay.
Really imagine stepping into the shoes of your parallel self.
Okay.
What are they doing? How are they feeling? What's their energy like?
Mm.
The more you can bring that to life in your mind, the more you start to, embody it in your real life.
Okay, so it's not just daydreaming. It's actively creating a vision.
Exactly. You're creating a blueprint.
I like that. A blueprint for your reality.
Right. The you that you want to become.
So visualization is key, but what about our actions?
Actions. Yeah, those are important too.
What kind of actions would actually help us bridge that gap and become more like our parallel selves?
It's about making choices.
Okay.
Choices that are aligned with that desired reality.
Okay.
Even if those choices, feel a little scary or outside your comfort zone.
So give me an example.
Okay, say your parallel self is super confident and successful in their career. You start taking steps to build those skills, pursue opportunities that might feel intimidating at first.
Okay. Yeah.
Or maybe they're just radiating peace and joy.
Yeah.
Prioritize things that bring you inner peace and happiness. Even if it means, letting go of things that aren't serving you anymore.
It's about making choices that reflect the person you want to be.
Right. The person your parallel self already is.
That makes sense, aligning our actions with our vision. But what about when, that self-doubt creeps back in?
The self-doubt.
Those voices that tell us we're not good enough, not worthy.
Yeah, we all have those voices.
How do we deal with those setbacks and, stay committed to our growth.
Those old patterns, they can be tough to break.
Yeah.
They're like these, ingrained grooves in our minds.
Hmm.
It takes conscious effort to create new pathways.
Okay, so how do we do that?
Be patient.
Okay.
Recognize that, setbacks are going to happen. It's normal.
Don't beat ourselves up.
Exactly. Don't judge yourself when those old thoughts and feelings pop up.
Okay.
Just acknowledge them without judgment.
Yeah.
And gently, guide yourself back to that energy of your parallel self.
One who's already got it figured out.
Right. The one who knows your worth and embodies those qualities you're striving for.
It's like we're retraining our minds.
Exactly. Replacing those limiting beliefs with more empowering ones.
This whole thing, this journey of aligning with our parallel selves, it hinges on something pretty crucial, right?
What's that?
Trust. The source keeps coming back to this idea of trusting the process, especially when, things aren't moving as fast as we'd like.
Trust is huge. Absolutely. It's about surrendering.
Surrendering.
To the flow of the universe.
Okay.
Having faith that everything is happening for our highest good, even if we can't see the big picture just yet.
That's hard sometimes, letting go of control.
It is, but that's where the magic happens. When we let go of that tight grip.
I love that, the magic of surrender. And speaking of magical, the source brings up this really cool concept. They say that as we align with our parallel selves, we actually become the sign.
Become the sign.
Yeah, we're no longer looking for those external cues.
Good.
We become the embodiment of the energy we're seeking.
That's a shift in perspective.
Right. What do you think that means?
It's like, instead of searching for that light in the external world, you become the light yourself. You embody the qualities, the energy, the vibration of that reality.
So we're not just attracting what we want, we're becoming what we want.
Exactly. Radiating that energy outwards.
That's powerful stuff. But what happens when the people around us, our friends, family, they don't quite get it?
Yeah, that can be tough.
The source mentions this can be a challenge, like our growth might trigger resistance in others. How do we navigate those relationships?
Not everyone's going to be on the same journey as us.
Right.
And that's okay. We can't force people to change or see things our way.
So what do we do?
Focus on honoring our own truth. Stay true to our path.
Okay.
Surround ourselves with people who support and uplift us.
Create a supportive ecosystem for our growth. And maybe, through our example, we can inspire others.
Exactly. Lead by example.
This whole conversation, it boils down to a pretty profound concept, and the source really hammers this home.
What's that?
We are the creators of our own reality. But is that just a feel-good saying, or is there something more to it?
I think there's a lot of power in that statement.
Okay.
And it's not just, new age fluff. Quantum physics actually supports this idea.
Really?
Yeah, the idea is that reality isn't fixed.
Okay.
It's a field of infinite possibilities that we influence through our thoughts, beliefs, actions.
So we're not just along for the ride, we're actively co-creating our reality with the universe. Okay, my mind is starting to bend a little bit here.
It is mind-bending, but it's also incredibly empowering.
Yeah, it means we're not victims of circumstance.
Right. We have the power to shape our lives.
Manifest our desires, create a reality that's aligned with our truest selves. This is all so fascinating. I'm starting to feel a shift in my own perspective, like I'm tapping into something new. But I'm curious about something. The source talks about this alignment as an ongoing journey. Is there an endpoint, a destination we're trying to reach?
I think the beauty of this is that it's a continuous unfolding.
Yeah.
There's no final destination.
Like finish line.
Right. It's about embracing the journey, the ups and downs, the twists and turns, knowing that every experience is shaping us into the best versions of ourselves.
So it's a lifelong adventure, a becoming, aligning with that ever-evolving version of ourselves. That exists in the realm of infinite possibilities. But let's talk practical for a second. The source says this alignment is key to creating the life we want. But how does that play out in the real world?
When we align with our parallel selves, we tap into this incredible source of energy and wisdom.
Okay.
It's like activating a blueprint for success, a roadmap to our highest potential. We become more confident, more decisive, more aligned with our purpose.
Okay, I can see that.
And this inner alignment, it naturally attracts opportunities, experiences that match our desires.
So it's not about forcing things to happen. It's about aligning our energy and letting the universe do its thing.
Exactly. It's like creating a magnetic field.
Ooh, I like that. A magnet for all the good stuff.
Right. The people, the resources, the experiences that are meant for us.
But what about those times when those old patterns come back, those doubts and fears?
Those are going to happen. It's normal.
The source calls them echoes of old energy patterns trying to hold us back. How do we deal with those and stay on track?
It's about recognizing those patterns without judgment,
Okay.
gently guiding ourselves back to that energy of our parallel self, the version of us that knows our worth.
It's like retraining our minds.
Exactly. Replacing those negative thoughts with more empowering beliefs.
I'm curious, what role does intuition play in all this? The source mentions it as a powerful guide on this journey.
Intuition is that inner voice, speaking to us on a deeper level, offering guidance, wisdom.
That gut feeling.
Yeah, exactly, that inner knowing.
Hmm.
And to develop it, we need to quiet the mind.
Okay.
Meditation, mindfulness, spending time in nature, those can help.
Create space for those whispers of wisdom.
Right, those intuitive nudges. They're always there, we just have to listen.
The source also talks about inspired action. How do we know when it's the right time to act? How do we distinguish that from, just forcing things?
Inspired action, it comes from a place of alignment, clarity.
Okay.
It feels effortless, joyful, like you're flowing with the universe.
It's not forced or strained.
Exactly. It feels like you're being guided, supported.
Like you're in the right place at the right time.
Right. Trusting that gut feeling and taking action when it feels aligned.
But even with inspired action, we're going to face challenges, right? The source talks about those as opportunities for growth.
Challenges are inevitable. They're part of life.
So how do we shift our perspective? See those challenges as stepping stones, not roadblocks.
It's a chance to look at our beliefs, our patterns, our approach, to learn, adapt, become more resilient.
Okay, so it's not about avoiding challenges. It's about learning from them.
Right. The universe is giving us a puzzle to solve.
I like that. A puzzle to solve. But even when we're facing challenges, we got to be kind to ourselves, right?
Self-love and compassion are crucial.
Especially when we're feeling discouraged or overwhelmed. How do we cultivate that?
Treat yourself with kindness.
Okay.
The same kindness you'd offer to a loved one.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, we're all human. We all make mistakes. It's okay to stumble.
We're works in progress,
Yeah.
perfectly imperfect. And when we cultivate self-love, we create a better environment for growth. What about gratitude? The source talks about appreciating the journey, even when things aren't perfect.
Gratitude is powerful. It shifts our focus from what we lack to what we have.
Okay.
When we appreciate the good, we open ourselves up to more abundance, more joy.
So even when things are tough, there's always something to be grateful for.
Always. Appreciating those little things, those everyday moments, that's where the magic is.
Okay, let's talk about surrender. Letting go of control, trusting the universe. But how do we embrace surrender while still going after our goals?
Surrender isn't about being passive.
Okay.
It's about releasing attachment to specific outcomes.
Okay.
Trusting that the universe has a plan.
Even when we can't see it.
Exactly. Letting go of that need to control everything.
That's tough, but it sounds freeing too.
It is. It's about aligning with that higher wisdom.
That knows what's best for us.
Okay, and how about faith? The source talks about believing in the unseen and the power of our dreams. How do we cultivate that unwavering belief when doubts creep in?
Faith is believing in something beyond what we can see or touch.
Okay,
It's that trust that our dreams are possible even when there's no proof.
believing in the impossible, trusting that miracles can happen.
Exactly. Holding that vision with unwavering faith, knowing the universe will meet us halfway. Okay, let's shift gears a bit. Let's talk purpose. The source talks about connecting with our unique gifts and sharing them with the world.
Purpose is why we're here, our unique contribution.
How do we discover that thing we're meant to do?
It's a journey of self-discovery, exploration, trying new things, stepping outside our comfort zones.
And paying attention to what lights us up.
Exactly. What brings us joy, what we lose track of time doing.
It's about listening to our intuition.
Our inner compass, guiding us to our true north.
The source also emphasizes service, using our gifts to help others, to make a difference. How do we incorporate that into our lives in a way that feels authentic?
Service is about using our talents, resources to make a positive impact,
Okay.
contributing to something bigger than ourselves.
It can take many forms, right?
Absolutely. Volunteering, donating, even just being kind and compassionate.
Recognizing that we're all connected.
Exactly. Making a conscious effort to contribute to the well-being of others, to make the world a better place.
Okay, last but not least, let's talk about joy. The source talks about enjoying the journey, finding joy in the process.
Joy and happiness, they're not destinations, They're states of being.
Choices we make, moment by moment.
Exactly. Choosing to focus on the good, to appreciate the beauty around us, to be grateful.
So even when we're striving for something more, we can still find joy in the present moment.
Absolutely. Shifting our perspective, choosing to see the glass half full.
Savoring the sweetness of life, even amidst the challenges. So, as we wrap up this part of our deep dive, what's one piece of advice you'd give to someone who's just starting on this journey?
Trust the process. Be
Mhm.
patient. Celebrate every step.
It's not about perfection, it's about progress.
Exactly. Embrace the journey, the ups and downs. Know that you're exactly where you need to be.
Embracing the messiness of it all, right? But there's something else I wanted to touch on, like what happens when, we're feeling all this excitement about this parallel selves thing and the people around us, well, they're not exactly on
Oh,
board.
yeah, you're going to run into that.
The source mentions this, how it can be a challenge when our growth, it triggers resistance in others.
It's natural. Change can be scary,
Yeah.
especially for those who aren't, ready for it themselves.
It's like we're shaking things up a bit.
Right. And not everyone likes that.
So how do we handle those situations? The source talks about setting boundaries, finding supportive people, but that's easier said than done, especially with like family and close friends.
It can be tricky. Boundaries, it's not about pushing people away.
Okay.
It's about honoring your own needs, creating that space for healthy growth
Hmm.
and communication.
Okay.
Communicating your truth, but with love, with compassion.
But also recognizing that we can't like force people to change.
Right. You can't control how others react.
There's that surrender thing again.
Exactly.
And I love what the source says about becoming the change we want to see.
Yes. Instead of trying to convince others, we just, embody it.
We become living examples.
Exactly. And that's powerful. When we radiate that authenticity, that joy, it can be contagious.
It's like we're giving others permission to step into their own power, explore their own potential.
Even if they're not ready to, fully jump in,
Yeah.
it plants a seed.
It creates a ripple effect. Okay, but even with the best intentions, even with supportive people around us, the journey isn't always easy, right?
Of course not. There will be bumps along the way.
We slip back into old patterns, doubt ourselves, get discouraged. It's like 2 steps forward, 1 step back.
That's how growth works. It's not always linear.
Okay, so it's not about beating ourselves up when we stumble.
Right. It's about learning from those moments.
Showing ourselves compassion.
Exactly. Just like you would with a friend who's struggling. We're all works in progress.
And one of the most mind-blowing parts of this whole thing is that we're not just aligning with our parallel selves, we're aligning with a reality where our desires have already happened.
It's like tuning into a frequency where it's already done.
And by, holding that vision, feeling the emotions of it, we're bringing it into our experience.
Exactly. It's a deliberate act of creation.
Yeah.
We're shaping our reality.
So the more we align with that version of ourselves, the one who's already living the dream, the more we make those dreams a reality.
You got it.
Okay, but what about free will? If everything's already happened in some other reality, do we really have a choice?
It's a great question. It's that age-old debate, free will versus destiny.
Yeah. But I think with this, it's not about being passive.
Okay.
It's about recognizing we have the power to choose which reality we experience, which timeline we align with.
So we're not just like characters in a pre-written story.
No, we're the authors. We can rewrite the story anytime we want.
And the more we embody those qualities of our parallel selves, the more we attract those experiences that align with that reality.
It's all about alignment.
Okay, kid, got to address the elephant in the room.
Yeah.
What about the skeptics? The ones who are like, come on, this is all just, wishful thinking. Skepticism is healthy. I get it. This stuff is definitely on the fringes.
Yeah. But the source doesn't try to force anything on anyone. It's just presenting these ideas, inviting us to explore.
Exactly. Keep an open mind. Question your assumptions. See what resonates with you. Who knows? Maybe you'll unlock something amazing within yourself.
That's a beautiful thought. Well, thank you so much for joining us on this wild ride through the world of parallel selves. It's been a mind-bending, thought-provoking conversation.
My pleasure. Keep exploring those possibilities. Create the reality you desire.
And to everyone listening, thank you for diving deep with us. Until next time, keep questioning, keep growing, and keep believing in the power of the unseen.